Welcome to Nintendo Historia. I'm your host, Chris Tysus, and we're here to do another chapter on something else. And I do have my glasses on. Sorry about the reflection, but I do need to read things in order to do these little history videos. So we are talking about today the Wii Remote. Yes. Now, here's probably the most interesting remote that Nintendo's ever produced, in terms of it really does not look like a traditional remote. Now, this thing was revealed at the Tokyo Game Show on September the 14th, 2005. And the actual name Wii Remote was made on April the 27th, 2006, which is very, very cool. Some of the history of it was that they started doing this in 2001, and they came to Gyration, a company that does wireless motion sensing computer mice, things like that. They commissioned them to do a one-handed control for it. And they worked through that, and they were looking through ideas and things like that, and they tried to preserve the GameCube button layout, which didn't quite work. And I think Nintendo wanted to do the wand shape, sort of like this, so you can move it around. And Nintendo also whipped up the design of the nunchuck, which is another little piece there. Nintendo also decided upon using a motion sensor, infrared pointer, and the layout of buttons. And by the end of 2005, the controller was ready for mass production. During the time when Nintendo, Miyamoto brought in mobile phones and controllers for GPSs for inspiration and ideas and things like that, which was very, very interesting. Now, there was thoughts to actually release the Wii Remote as an add-on to the GameCube, but they decided to scrap that idea and do it for the Wii console instead. So that was very, very interesting. The design of it is about 148 millimeters long, 36 millimeters wide, and 36.8 millimeters thick. And you can do it about 10 meters away. So this is about 3 meters here, and you can see it like that. Now, here is another Wii Remote that actually has the plastic protector on it, and this is a Motion Plus, which we'll talk about that later on. And it has the nunchuck attached to it, which has a couple buttons, and you can move your characters around, which is fantastic. So now obviously you have all the different buttons, this, and of course it has a strap, which at first some people did damage their TVs when they threw it at the TVs and then they let go, and they did a free accessory obviously with the jacket, which is quite very, very sturdy if you have a look at it. It's a very sturdy looking little piece, which is fantastic. Now, it came in lots of different colors: white, black, blue controllers, red, silver, lime green, black, and they had different versions too, like a Peach design one, and a Mario, and a Yoshi, and a Bowser. So there was whole sorts there, which was interesting. Now, basically, the Wii Remote senses acceleration along 3 axes through the use of the 80 XL 330 accelerometer, and uses a PixArt optical sensor, allowing it to determine where the Wii Remote is pointing. So unlike light guns, when we talked about earlier in our NES Zapper video history, where it senses light from a television screen, the Wii Remote senses light from the sensor bar. You can tell that there is a sensor bar up here on my television. And by that, It can sense the sensor bar, and it can tell where the pointer is. So that's quite important there. So the sensor bar is required when the Re remote is controlling up and down, left and right motion of the cursor on the screen and things like that. So, which is very, very interesting. It can also control slow forward backwards motion of an object in a three-dimensional game, rapid forward backward motion such as punching in a boxing game, such as that. So it can, the Re sensor, pretend that the camera is the Wii sensor, and it can tell by the sensors by doing that and moving along like that, which was very cool. So that's how it works like that. It also had rumble and audio. Actually, I think this is one of the cooler features too, is the little speaker on here, because it does the little Zelda chime in Twilight Princess, and I love that little feature. I thought that was really, really cool. It's a small thing, but it just adds to the environment of it, which was very cool. And with this thing, you could do things like, sword fighting, shooting a gun, playing boxing, tennis, baseball, all those sort of different types of games. And it was really, 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 really cool. So, which I'm very happy about. The memory is about 6 kilobytes, can be freely read and written by the host, and I think it's basically 10 meg avatars. That's the only reason you can do that too. And you can actually save profiles from Monster Hunter Tri onto this, and Super Smash Bros. Brawl, controller configurations. Now, let's look at the other one. So as you can tell, well, this is a rechargeable battery, but it does do 2 AA batteries. Is how this little thing is built up. So, do I have the attachment here? No, I don't need to show you, because we're just going to talk about it either way. So, this is the Motion Plus, and they released these new ones in 2010. And for the ones who don't have Motion Plus inside, you can get a little attachment which is about yay long. Now, it came with a gold one for The Legend of Zelda, Skyward Sword. When they came out, that was really, really cool. Now, the Motion Plus was able to increase the movements and that. So like in Skyward Sword, instead of just swiping at things, you could do cuts, movements and that. So it was a lot more realistic, I guess. And I think it was better, to be honest. I felt. Which was very, very cool. And it was very, very interesting. Now, the nunchuck, that's fairly simple what it does. It just allows you to move things, trigger, shoot things, stuff like that. But I think this is a really interesting technology, and I think a lot of people felt when they saw this, they thought this was going to be really uncomfortable to hold, and it wasn't. It felt really good for shooting games and things like that, and it I think it turned out really well for Nintendo for that time and period. So it's quite a happy thing. Very, very pleased with the Re remote. So that's pretty much the history of the Re remote, with me not going too much into it. But I think it's a very, very cool object. Tell us your stories about the Re remote. Tell us if you have any more information or history, little tiny bites about it, which would be really cool to add to, little notes in the video somewhere. And it's probably definitely the most interesting controller that's ever been done. And that was for the Wii console that sold over 100 million. So well done to Nintendo on that part. So that's the end of Nintendo Historia for now, and I'll see you later on.